Hey, it's Sam here from Sugar Spun Run, and today we're making sourdough discard banana muffins. All right, this one is for my fellow sourdough keepers. If you're looking for something to do with your discard, and maybe you're looking for something to do with your overripe bananas, today's recipe is for you. We're going to be making these very simple sourdough banana muffins. They come together quickly. Let's go ahead and get started. So first up, you need some really ripe bananas, and you do want them to be really ripe, like brown and spotty. The riper they are, the softer they're going to be, and they're going to be more sugary and sweeter, and they're going to give your muffins just a better flavor. So for this recipe, you're going to need 1 1/4 cups of mashed bananas. This is 312 grams. It's going to depend on the size of your banana, but usually I need between 3 and 4 bananas. So I'm just going to go ahead and weigh out 312 grams. 315 grams would also be fine. 312 sounds so specific, but I guess so is 315. Any numbers is specific. And in case I haven't talked about it recently, kitchen scale, any baker looking to up their baking game, get better results, get more consistent results, you should really be using a kitchen scale. All of my recipes use weight measurements, and that's how I test them. And if I forget to mention one while I am filming a recipe, you can always find it in the description. All right, let's see. I think this one might get us there. Oh, more than got us there. I should have gone with the smaller one. Let's see, 313. That'll work. So now let's mash these up. I'm using my potato masher because it does the job quickly, but you could just use a fork, especially if your bananas are nice and soft, as they should be. A fork will work really well to get them nicely mashed. Okay, nicely mashed up. Do yourself a favor when you're making these. I was a little silly here and I mashed these in a small bowl. You're just going to be moving them over to a bigger bowl. So to save yourself a dish and make everything easier, just go ahead and mash your bananas directly in the larger bowl. Sometimes I don't think these things through. Sourdough discard. You are going to need a 1/2 cup or 110 grams of sourdough discard. So if you're making sourdough, this is not when it's all active and bubbly. This is after it's fallen back down. This is the stuff you would normally throw out. So this is just a good way to use it. We're gonna go put this right in the bowl. And sourdough discard, I don't really feel like you're getting a ton of nutritional benefits when you bake with discard. There's some, I'm sure, but the reason a lot of people like to use sourdough discard in their baking is because, one, it's less wasteful than throwing it away, and you really need to throw away like half of your starter every day. But two, it does add a really nice depth of flavor. Doesn't make things too sour, but it's just, it's not even too tangy. Like, depth of flavor is the best way to put it. I love using sour cream in a lot of recipes for the same reason. Of course, we're going to be adding some sugar. I don't feel like there's a ton in this recipe, and that's because we get a lot of the sweetness from the bananas. We use a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, that is 100 grams, and we are also adding a 1/3 cup or 67 grams of firmly packed light brown sugar. Next thing you need is a 1/2 cup, 1 stick, 113 grams of unsalted butter that you've melted. You don't want it to be super hot, but it's okay if it's a little bit warm. So I'm just going to add this to the bowl. Now, in a lot of my muffin recipes and cake recipes, I'll use a blend of butter and oil. And I do this because butter is great for flavor, but oil is really good for moisture in a muffin. So this recipe, we are getting a lot of moisture from the discard is helping with that, but also the bananas really make the muffins nice and moist. So we can get away with just using butter, which makes them more flavorful. That's what we're doing here. You just need 1 egg for this recipe. I'm just gonna crack it in a separate dish here. Ideally, this should be room temperature. We add a nice punch of vanilla flavor. We're going to be adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Get my jar open. This is my homemade vanilla, so that's why you get those nice little vanilla bean specks, which I'm always talking about, so sorry, I'm a little obsessed with them, as any of you who watch these videos regularly may have picked up on. All right, we're going to whisk everything together, get all of these ingredients nicely combined, get that egg broken up, sugars nicely incorporated, butter nicely incorporated, before we get our dry ingredients ready. I think we're already smelling amazing. We haven't even turned on our oven yet. Okay, we want everything well incorporated, which this appears to be. So let's slide this out of the way. We're going to grab a separate bowl for our dry ingredients. We're going to kick things off here with 1 1/2 cups or 190 grams of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and just a 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Sometimes I do slightly heaping on that. There we go. All right, let's whisk everything together, get it nicely combined. You want your leavening agents well incorporated in there so we get a nice even rise on the muffins. And then let's just bring back our sourdough, banana, etc. mixture, and you can drop everything right on in there. Okay, no more whisk at this point. Grab your spatula or a wooden spoon or a regular spoon, and we're just going to gently fold everything together until the ingredients are well incorporated. So anytime you're making muffins or like a quick bread like muffins, you want to take care to not overmix. Overmixing can give you dense, dry muffins and just give you a bad experience all around. So we're going to be gentle and just do this until we have a uniform batter and there are no flour streaks remaining. Okay, so once I have everything mixed together, I don't bake the muffins right away. If you've made some of my other muffins, like my bakery style chocolate chip cookies, or muffins, which I highly recommend, you will probably remember that I often like to do this technique where I will rest the muffin batter. This step is technically optional. You could bake the muffins right away and they would be fine, but for a really nice tall muffin top, I like to let the batter sit for 30 minutes before I bake them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cover this and I'm going to let it sit for 30 minutes. While it's sitting, I'm going to preheat my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius. I'll pop up the Celsius for you because what that is escapes me. I think it's like 220. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab a 12 count muffin tin and I'm going to line it with paper liners. Today I'm using my homemade parchment paper liners because they're super cute, at least I think so, and because I'm out of regular liners. So I will see you in 30 minutes. All right, 30 minutes later, you're going to notice your batter is much thicker than it was, which is why I really recommend this step. The 30 minutes is it's not essential, but it's going to give you the best results. So we're going to evenly divide this batter into our muffin tins. It's a little bit messier if you're using parchment liners. Okay, a little extra batter here. All right, the final thing I like to do is I like to add a nice sprinkling of coarse sugar over each muffin. This is that sugar that I've been using it in a lot of my recipes recently, like my banana bread chocolate chip cookies. Those were amazing. I use this on them. I'll try to remember to give you a link to it, but if you don't have this sugar, you can just use like turbinado sugar or organic sugars, usually coarser. If you don't have a sugar like that, you could just use regular granulated, but this gives a really nice crunch and a nice subtle sweetness. So at this point, your oven should be preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 220 Celsius. We're going to take this over to the oven, bake it in the center rack for 8 minutes. After 8 minutes, do not open your oven door, but reduce your oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. Now we're going to continue to bake the muffins for another 7 to 8 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean or with a few moist crumbs. Okay, so let the muffins cool in the pan for about 5 minutes, but you don't want to let them cool completely. The reason for this is if they sit in the pan too long, you can get some condensation happen and the bottom of the liners can seem really oily, super moist. This can happen with cupcakes too. So just about any recipe where I use a muffin tin, I don't let the contents sit in there longer than like 5, maybe 7 minutes before removing them. So we're just going to carefully remove each muffin. A lot of times I'll use a knife to gently pry them up and move them, but these parchment paper liners just make it really easy for me to do it this way without burning myself. And then you can let them cool completely, or what I recommend is digging in while they're still warm, but not so hot that you're going to burn yourself. And that is how you make sourdough banana muffins. I really hope you enjoy this recipe. Please, if you try it, let me know what you think. I really do always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Pretty that is. It looks like it came from a bakery. But it tastes even better. Oh my gosh, this is a really good muffin. What is in my piece of banana? Oh no. I have a plastic wrap on that still. 30 minutes later. Colt, that was quite a whine. He wants a muffin. All right, try again.